Here we are. Here we begin with arguably the most famous Daedric prince on the internet. Not joking. I see more and more people post about Molag Bal than I do with Sheogorath, which is interesting considering that all these posts are just people virtue signaling like crazy about how bad Molag Bal is, yet they just won't shut up about it. They keep talking about it. So let's dive into it, shall we? For you listeners to this video, this will be a nice blend of an introduction for newcomers and a deeper inspection as to what Molag Bal really represents. So if you're a more experienced person, this video is still good for you. Listen it out. Let's see it. So with that all laid out, let's begin. Molag Bal, Lord of Domination, Prince of Pain, and Prince of Corruption. He is an outright evil figure. While other Daedra we have discussed have some redeeming qualities, like Mehrunes Dagon, the god of revolutions, Molag Bal, on the other hand, has none. It's one of those interesting lore aspects that I do wonder why anyone would allow Molag Bal worship, as there's nothing good in his service. There's not a single cult, there's not a single decent person who worships Molag Bal, so why do empires allow it? I have zero fucking idea. You see, Molag Bal is the god of domination. To claim dominion over a person, break a person's spirit, these are Molag Bal's aspects. So in essence, slave traders conduct acts that Molag Bal approves of. A good example is monks. You find a monk, a god of Talos is who he worships. You capture him, you beat him into submission, you make him bloody, you break him, you bruise him, shatter his bones. He is crying for you to stop, but you don't. You tell him he has to renounce Talos, openly declaring Talos isn't a god. Finally, he breaks. He gives up, saying, "You are right. Talos is a mere man, nothing more, nay, worse than a man. He's just a puppet. Please, just stop." And then you continue beating the man due to the joy that you now get from his cries. That is what Molag Bal does. That is what he approves of. Now you may wonder, okay, so what do his followers gain from all this? That's the fun part. Nothing. They are dominated subjects just like anyone else. The only thing that separates us from cultists is that cultists are looked upon kindly and can receive gifts from Molag Bal. But in the greater scheme of things, they are but slaves or puppets to him, and he rewards them with apathy. When they die and they enter his domain, they still get tortured, they still get chained up like everyone else. But they do have that chance of Molag Bal using them again. He may resurrect them at some point. He may utilize their services. So again, they don't really get anything from this. This is the problem with Molag Bal. When people say Daedra are bad, they're usually referring to this guy in particular. In fact, the Dark Elves even have a category of Daedra, and the category of evil Daedra, wouldn't you know it, Molag Bal sits right at the top for most malevolent of them all. Molag Bal has been an adversary to all mortals. One way that he has tried to harm the Dark Elves, though, in particular, to the point that they branded him a problem, is that he tried corrupting their noble family lineages. Imagine that. You look into your family bloodline to find out that your grandma was raped by a Daedric cultist. So now you're not a pure member of the House Indoril, but instead you're a bastard of Molag Bal. This is of course why Dark Elves view Molag Bal as an adversary who actively desires the destruction of their way of life. Speaking of this corruption, we should probably talk about the largest yet most well-known fact about this god. Rape. Yep, we're going to discuss a topic that may be too much detail, but I find it interesting as Molag Bal is the god of rape. Throughout most lore snippets, the fact remains that Molag Bal is neither friendly nor hospitable to anybody. As such, one of the more recent lore from the dreaded game Skyrim, specifically the DLC Dawnguard, here we see that cultists of Molag Bal are treated. They're raped. In specific, we're referring to the Daughters of Cold Harbor. Cold Harbor being the name of Molag Bal's dimension. What happens is the cultists will do a ritual. They will beseech Molag Bal's blessing and offer a woman as a sacrifice. In some dialogue and in some of the books in the game, it mentions that the woman has to be an unwilling subject. Before the cultists know it, the woman will disappear, sent to Cold Harbor, where Molag Bal personally rapes the woman, or at least dominates her, but it is heavily implied she is raped. Now, what kinky positions or what toys are utilized, we do not know, but it is assumed it is a spiky condom with a bladed tip. Probably looks like the mace of Molag Bal. Either way, somehow, surviving a bladed pineapple shoved inside them, the woman emerges back into the world as a pure-blooded vampire lord. This is a gamble, of course, for the cultists, as Molag Bal may end up killing the woman, and if the woman returns a vampire, she'll probably kill everybody who just put her through that miserable fucking hell. So let's discuss this. How does rape kind of fit into the whole corruption theme of Molag Bal? Well, being a dominating figure, sure, rape makes sense, but corruption? How does that fit into rape? So a big thing with rape, and this is more about real world stuff. After all, I am a nurse, I study psychology. The thing with rape is that it's very corrupting of one's relationships. It's a corruption of a person's ability to govern themselves and ability to enjoy one of the aspects of life, which is sex. It utterly destroys it, ruins it for a lot of people. There's a lot of good stories and a lot of good psychiatrists who have studied rape. And one of the most interesting things is that more often than not, let's say your wife is out, she gets raped. They may as well have raped the husband. They may as well have raped you, because what happens is that it twists and it corrupts the man's view of his wife, where now all of a sudden he feels disgusted. He feels like he doesn't even want to have sex because all he can think about is some other dude forcing himself on this woman. Meanwhile, the woman, she's suffering. She's the victim here, yet the man is feeling the same way she does. It's a very fascinating thing in psychology to study is how rape affects the psyche of a person, how it corrupts this desire. Some rape victims kind of swing the other way, though, and I have actually met someone who was like this in real life. She was a great time, but rape can sometimes make people hypersexualized, whereas a way to cope with the fact that they lost control of themselves and that they were forced into a sexual position that they did not want, they become hypersexual themselves, and it almost comes off a little too much. In some interesting cases, that some rape victims become rapists because they desire sex and it fills in that corrupt hole in their life that they just got ruined, which is sex. Now, as I said, the woman I knew, she was a little too pushy. Did I mind at the time? Not really. Did the relationship end? Absolutely. Why? She ended it with me. Short story, I'm a bit of an asshole. So, let's carry onwards. What else is interesting about Molag Bal besides the fact he corrupts sex? He destroys what's sacred about that. Well, what I find more interesting about Molag Bal is that he created vampirism, and he even endorses necromancy. This is so weird. No other Daedric prince likes necromancy, yet he loves it. So you may say, why? Well, the answer is very unique. It's his method of corruption. To Molag Bal, all natural processes are inherently begging to be corrupted. Some books mark that Molag Bal has a vendetta against the god of death, RK. But I view it more as that Molag Bal has this inherent need to corrupt things. He desires it. He craves it. He wishes for nothing more than to perverse anything he sees. In this mission of his, death is a natural state of life, and to die is the ultimate goal of all living things. So Molag Bal corrupts it by making vampire species, a species that is immune to aging and sustain itself with the blood of other living creatures. Isn't that as corrupt as you can get? Here's the thing that is, by most definitions, alive, but it's not. It's walking around, it's talking, it's fully sentient. But yet, it is fueled by the lives of others. It is a total perversion of what does life mean? What does death mean? It is a destruction of that term entirely. In terms of necromancy, though, Molag Bal appreciates it as well for the same principle. When being dies, they are naturally to be laid in a rest in a permanent spot. Yet necromancy defies this. You're dominating a person's corpse. You're making it unnaturally walk, fight, even compel it to kill its own family members. In this essence, anything that is corruptible is dominable. I can't think of anything more egregious than to break someone in life, and then when they die, you dominate them again in unlife by reviving their corpse, turning them into an eternal servant. This is Molag Bal. This is why many view him as not only evil, but outright someone to avoid. In the Morrowind game, you do find that there's a small village temple where they didn't really worship Molag Bal, they just simply built the temple and left offerings to placate him, to keep his eyes off of them. This is a great reason why. They hold the dead as sacred, and here is an evil god that will defile the dead and flood your village with the very corpses of your family. So it's best to simply appease him and just try to make him at least neutral terms with him. But the Morrowind game, they do show that the Dark Elves view them as like a challenge, as Dark Elves should challenge themselves against Molag Bal. But for the people who actually live next to this temple, they say, no, fuck that. I already live next to him. I don't want to tempt him further. We're good. But when it comes to the worship of Molag Bal, what do some cultists gain out of it? It depends on the story of the plot. Like for some people, it could be you're a lowly farmer. Most of your family's died, you have their crypts nearby, their tomb, and all of a sudden a group of bandits, they say they're going to break into that tomb and they're going to steal these artifacts and relics, and you're sitting there with your lowly self going, shit, how am I going to protect my family's honor? How am I going to protect this tomb? And all of a sudden, a small man approaches to your little village and says, I know a way. And before you know it, he makes you drink something that gives you this crazy arcane power, except this power is only for one thing, which is animating objects. And you go, well, I can't protect my tomb by wiggling an hourglass in front of the bandit's face. And that's when all of a sudden you get a weird subliminal message in your head. What if I animate the bodies of my family? After all, my great-great-granddad served in the Imperial Legion. He's a great fighter. Let me try to make him come back to just this one time help protect the family's honor and protect their resting place. And before you know it, you're studying so much and making sure that the greatest warriors of your family are revived as undead zombies, skeletons able to fight off these bandits. And before you know it, you realize that you've probably done more damage to your family's honor, done more damage against their corpses than any bandit could have ever done. And it is then that Molag Bal will reveal himself to this old wizard and tell him, my real name is actually Molag Bal, and you have done me a service. And once the wizard realizes that he damned himself, that's when Molag Bal could just suck the power away from him, take away that necromancy away from the wizard, and then instruct his own family member corpses to now kill him, and then revive him, kill him again, revive him, kill him again. Just keep dominating him over and over and make him suffer an eternity of suffrage. This is Molag Bal. This is why someone could worship him. It's just it never ends well for them. And that's the thing with Molag Bal. When he presents himself, he rarely presents himself as Molag Bal. This is why a lot of his worshippers are known to be patient, and they tend to scheme, is because Molag Bal is a very patient god. He can sit there for a long time and slowly corrupt you, until eventually when you reach that tipping point that he reveals his true self, and then you look back at your life and you go, no, please, I didn't know. And then he just laughs at your face as he beats the shit out of you. This is the point of Molag Bal. Very interesting character, and I actually like the idea of this evil deity being so corruptible. He may simply tell you that, oh, there's a plague in your village, so just burn down the village. He may tell you, oh, there's a weird group of worshippers nearby. So you go out and you say, what? They reject the god Talos? These fucking heathens, these fucking heretics? And you come over to them and they're asking for you to please not hurt them. Please not. You massacre them all. And then as you massacre them, you see that an amulet of Stendar drops out of them. And you go, oh my god. They did believe in Talos. They did believe in the divines. It was just that they're more dedicated to Stendar, and Molag Bal just wanted me to kill these people. How can I, a noble knight, have done this? How can I have committed such a corrupting act of killing, massacring unarmed people? Molag Bal is a very interesting point of study in the Elder Scrolls series because he is just a classical villain. He is utterly evil. There is never a good reason to follow him. There is never a good reason to talk to him. Anytime you deal with Molag Bal, it is strictly for the detriment of somebody else. One of my favorite quests was in Oblivion. Oblivion, mind you, Oblivion's the greatest game ever. I've always loved it the most. But besides my personal biases, Oblivion has this really good quest with Molag Bal where you see a paladin, a righteous, pious paladin. And Molag Bal gives you a shitty mace, and he tells you, I want the paladin to strike down an unarmed person, and I want him to do it with this rusty mace. And it's like, okay, interesting. Don't know where this is going, but sure. You show up to the paladin's house, and he has foregone any way of attacking. He says he is now on a vow of pacifism. Okay. And you find out from the village that he's living in that his wife died recently. And if you keep goading him to attack you, he just ignores you, but he is pissed, and he tells you to just leave him the hell alone. And then when he's out every day, he goes to his wife's tombstone, and he prays, he talks to her. And if you go there to goad him, he tells you, really? Is nothing sacred to you? This is where you demand to attack me? And then you can keep pressing him, but he just gets really mad at you. But if you whip out your fists and you start punching his wife's tombstone, start beating it on it, throwing shit at it, all of a sudden, the paladin snaps. You dare defile my wife's tomb? You dare breach this? Not only have you been goading me this whole time, not only have you been unreasonably hostile to me, but now you're doing this to my wife, the greatest person I've ever known. Yeah, he whips out the rusty mace and he kills you. And you're revived at Molag Bal's shrine, where Molag Bal laughs that he now corrupted this paladin. He made the paladin break his oath. And to make it even better, you can go back to the farm, show yourself to the paladin, and he loses it. But I killed you. I saw your corpse. What? He literally loses his mind as he realizes he broke his vow and that the Daedra got the better of him. This has been Freezer 700. This has been Molag Bal. This has been a very long discussion. A bit uncomfortable, I will admit, because rape is a very heavy topic. But I am getting kind of sick of virtue signaling. It's kind of like Fallout New Vegas when people like keep posting about Caesar's Legion over and over and over again. They keep going, I always kill Caesar because, you know, slavery, rape, misogyny. And then everyone's like, yes, please, yes. Oh my God. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. We get it. They're bad. I get it. I don't need to see 3,000 posts about this person being a piece of shit. I get it. You're not a cool dude because you say, hey, this person's a piece of shit. Like, it's obvious. That's the design. They are a terrible person. Like, what the fuck is the point of the post? Oh my God, I'm ranting. Okay. We need to end this video. See you guys next time. I'm leaving this in the video because I need to rant. See you guys next time.